Hey now, how is everybody doing? Welcome to Red Alert Diaries Live with Tanya E. Hood. I'm glad I get the chance to see you again and hoping your day was amazing. I missed you guys last week. I was a little under the weather, so didn't think you want to hear me doing a whole bunch of coughing and hopefully feeling much better today. I actually have a voice today. You get the chance to hear me. And if you listen to this morning's episode, I did a replay on a little bit of story mode because there are moments in our lives where we've got to look at some of the stories that we've heard and get a different vision of them. The same way, sometimes you've got to get a different vision of the dreams that you have inside of your soul. You see, too many times we are in an environment where we're looking at everything around us instead of focusing on the task that we have at hand. There is something that you were born on the earth to give. A lot of you have heard it, and I firmly believe it, that the only reason that we are born on this planet is because we're here to help one another. And as a result of that, there is something in your soul that you are supposed to birth for the rest of us to use. I gave an example this morning about the phones that we use. Somebody had to actually get that vision of the phone out of their mind, put forth the work, even when no one else understood their vision, recognized the vision, probably belittled and ridiculed them about their vision. What are you visualizing that somebody may have made you feel some type of way about? Each of us have something in our world that I feel, it's a birth that is unbelievable. It can be you writing a story, like me. I gave the example of my premiere book, Red Alert. Is He the One? The Pocket Guide to Finding the Love of Your Life? Because it's my reset story. You see, that story was a strategy that I used to get me healed, to get me whole, and to move me into a better direction. And it was a story that for some, it was like, okay, you're dyslexic. You are also nerdy as gracious, so picking up social clues is not your best talent, was never your best skill. But here's the thing. You can learn some elements. I may not pick up the small nuances of emotional well-being, but what I am amazing at is picking up the patterns and the strategies, putting together something that you can use as a process that will propel you into a better direction. It's my gifting. No one else understands it. Not a lot of people can visualize it, but there is something that you were born to do. That some part of your world, someone said, you're not talented enough to give. You don't pick up enough of the nuances. You're not able to achieve. But oh, I want you to know that there is always something inside of everybody that someone else needs to tap into. It just requires a different vision, a different look, a different view. What is that for you? Leave your comments in the section below because you guys already know that I'm trying to figure out how to do a better way of seeing you live so that I can see the interactive conversation. But I always check the comments in the meantime. We can have an extended discussion, walking through that conversation. Leave your information in because it doesn't have to be just today. I will respond. Because if you need time to think about what's being birthed inside of your soul, take the time you need. Come back and then type your information in the comments below. That way we can extend the dialogue, which is what the live Red Alert Diaries is all about, extending the dialogue. Because we don't often have conversations about our dreams. And if we do have discussions about our dreams, we're comparing it to something we have seen, something someone has said. But I want you to know, most of the time, the best thing that you will be able to give to the world, no one has ever seen. No one will be able to explain it. No one will even help you truly be able to birth it. You see, I have a firm belief that for those big dreams, big goals, big things, oh, only God can give you the strategy to make it work. Because in the aftermath of my divorce, y'all, I was a mess. I knew my skills were good, but I had been in a position for so long where I listened to the chatter of those around me because they couldn't see my vision. They didn't understand my dreams, and they also didn't really know what was inside of me. But here's something else I learned. There's an element inside of your being that you are not yet familiar with either. And only the one that created you can tell you how to get it out, how to maximize it, and how to be a best support system for others. You see, I gave the story about Noah, the guy in the Bible that built a boat on dry land when there was never anything called rain. Yeah, he had a vision about something that never, ever existed. And God gave him a plan to build something that never would have ever come into the mind of anybody around him. Because at that time, the earth was still watered from beneath. So there was no need to really see rain or have rain fall from the sky like we're used to today. So when Noah was telling those around him, God told me to build a boat that is 4 football fields long. Now, that's our designation of it. So when you go back and you read the Bible and you see those stories translated, a lot of people don't like the Bible stories because they feel it's so old and they can't relate to the stories. Translate those stories. You see, when the Bible was written, it was written for those that understood initially those moments. But the principles, no, the principles that exist in the Bible still reign today. The story about Noah, the principle that exists is walk in your destiny. Live out your dreams, even if nobody understands it. No one else can get clarity of it, and you can't even explain it. That same principle that Noah walked in is the same principle that birthed the phone that you're looking at. That complex machine that you carry around in your hand did not exist. It was somebody visualizing and thinking, I want to talk to someone else far, far away from me. And I want to be able to do it while I'm standing still or sitting in my bed or whatever else you're doing with your phone today. And I want to be able to check messages that people can send me, look at emails, because all these various means of communication, I want to be able to tap into all of those elements in one space, in one time, in one place with one device. It is now the phone that we know. But just speaking on a phone, just the dialogue of hearing one human voice to another human voice, that alone was a magnanimous thought. So for you to go through thinking of the Bible, oh, it's so old, because of the things that we're familiar with, translate it. That phone was the synonymous element for Noah with a boat. Whatever it is that you need to birth, no one else has ever seen. No one else understands. You can't really explain it. It has never been seen before. Same principle. And only God will be able to get you through it. So here's something I want to share that I had to learn in the aftermath of my divorce. The same lesson that Noah had to learn as well. You believe in the God I serve, then you have to learn to hear his voice. And God does not often speak in loud, booming elements. No, usually it's something quiet. Usually it's a quick vision. Usually it's a thought that you have, a thought that keeps showing up no matter where you're going, no matter what you're doing. It just keeps showing up. It may be a sound that you heard. I'll use my car as an example. I needed to get me a new truck. My car had died. I love that thing, but it was on its last legs. And I knew I needed a new vehicle, but I didn't know what it was. So I was like, okay, Lord, I'm learning to hear you better. I know I need a vehicle. Can you tell me what it is? I heard the word rogue. Okay, that's cute, but rogue made no sense to me. Then on the radio, I heard somebody making a statement that there was a rogue cavern or whatever, which was the definition of the word rogue that I understood anyway, something getting away from you, something roaming, things like that. That made sense, but it was the second time I heard that word in the same day. Then I heard the word again from someone making a statement that everybody's going around being rogue, doing their own thing. Okay, now I keep hearing this word. The thing that my grandmother told me that did not make sense then, y'all hear a lot of that. Yeah, I heard a lot of it too. When I heard the word in different places over multiple streams, different thoughts, it wasn't from the same source. I learned from my grandmother that if you hear the same thing more than once from various places, God is trying to tell you something. But in order for you to get true clarity, you need to sit still so that you can truly hear what he has to say. So when I got home, I typed in Google rogue because I'm like, okay, this word keeps showing up. This is the biggest search engine that I know. So when I typed in rogue, guess what I saw? I did not know Nissan made a rogue. What happened next? The same thing that happens to everybody else when you finally get a thought in your mind about something. I kept seeing the rogue truck everywhere. I did not for the life of me see that truck on the road. Did not dawn on me at all. But the minute I decided I wanted to get me a Nissan Rogue truck, what did I keep seeing on replay, on repeat? The same thing that happens to everybody else. If you're thinking about food, that thought will constantly show up. You'll see it everywhere. You see a car that you like. You've never seen that car on the road before until you decide you want it. Same thing happened to me. Same thing happens to your dreams. Same thing happens to your vision. So when you choose to let the creator of the universe give you a download of something, no one else may even have it available or it exists. But just like I had that consistent thought that kept roaming through my mind, it was my moment to recognize to pause. There's someone bigger and greater than me trying to get my attention. And in the pause is where I've learned some other things. It was in the pause to tell my story. Because when I wrote my book, all I heard over and over again was tell your story, tell your story. So I thought, being the natural, logical, analytical nerd that I am, it was literal. Tell your story. So I just started telling people how I was beginning to get out of the chaos from my divorce because I did an autopsy. And in that autopsy, I wrote a 4-page summary. And it was that summary that I used as a tool and a strategy guide to clear up $35,000 worth of debt that was left in the aftermath of my divorce. I used it also to get out of a 2-bedroom apartment that I was about to be evicted out of and move into a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, in-unit townhouse that I bought with no money. The strategy that God gave me was a strategy that supported me in writing the book and clearing up the debt and getting the house. That same God told Noah, build a boat on dry land that can save you and everything else living that I want saved in this environment. There is something that God needs you to sit still in so that he can give you instructions to birth what needs to be built so that those around you can be saved. Because I didn't understand until my book was published and people started sharing with me that the strategies and actionable steps that I used was supporting them as well as it supported me. What is it that you have to get quiet enough to hear God's voice, his prompting, his strategies, his plans? Because Noah certainly would never have been able to build a boat that can contain those many animals for that long a time period. He was in that boat for over a year. And he had all the resources that were necessary to support everybody in the boat. That is a God-sized dream with a God-sized plan and a God-sized moment. And you can still get a download with what you can do because that same God lives today to help you birth what he intends for you to birth, to save someone. So I want to encourage you today. Build the boat God wants you to build. For me, it was my premiere book. For you, it may be the next technological element that we need in this world to help us communicate more effectively, to be more relational with one another, to be able to be a better support system. Build your boat. Dream your dream, even if you got to walk it with just you and God. Because one of the things that I shared in this morning's episode is that while all of the stuff was happening and the rain had started to come, God is the one that sealed Noah in the boat to protect him and his family. So when the rains come, if you are building the boat with the design and the plan and the action that God is telling you to do, when the rains come, you will be protected because it's God's hands that will cover you, that will keep you, that will give you the insight about the resources that you need to sustain you and those around you. And if you want someone to join you on the journey, feel free to go to my website, tanyaehood.com. There you can click under the Work With Me tab and see the various ways that we can work with one another to get an idea of what you can do to build your boat. And if you got some thoughts now, leave them in the comments below. I'm going to go check on that in a few moments. In the meantime, this is Tanya E. Hood, walking in my purpose. I want you to do the same. Take care, everyone.